I never thought I'd set foot in our old family ranch in Montana again. Not after the way things fell apart. But there I was, Alex Turner, pulling up in my beat-up pickup truck on a crisp autumn morning in 2023, staring at the weathered wooden fence and the sprawling acres that had once been our playground. At 38, I'd built a life as a high school history teacher in Boise, Idaho, quiet, predictable, far from the drama that had defined my childhood. My older brother, Mike, 44, was a hotshot corporate lawyer in Denver, with a trophy wife, 2 kids, and that perpetual air of someone who'd conquered the world. My sister, Sarah, 41, was a freelance photographer bouncing around Seattle, capturing the raw beauty of the Pacific Northwest while dodging her own demons. We hadn't spoken in 10 years. Not since Dad's 60th birthday blowout at the ranch in 2013, which ended with Sarah slamming the door, Mike chasing after her yelling about old grudges, and me left alone in the kitchen, nursing a beer and wondering how blood could turn so bitter. Dad's heart attack hit like a bolt from the blue, found by the neighbor, old Mr. Harlan, slumped over his tractor in the barn on a Tuesday. By the time the ambulance rolled up the dirt road, he was gone. The funeral was a stiff affair at the local Methodist church in Billings. Us 3 sitting like statues in the front row, grieving in silos. Mike handled the arrangements with his usual bulldog efficiency. Sarah snapped discreet photos that caught the raw edges of sorrow. And I gave a eulogy about Dad's love for the land, his 40 years wrangling cattle and teaching us about hard work, skipping the parts about how he'd been a stubborn mule at home. The ranch was left to us equally in his will. A classic western spread, 200 acres of rolling hills, a sturdy log cabin house, barns, and that old swimming hole by the creek where we'd spent endless summers. Real estate was booming with city folks snapping up land for dude ranches, so selling made sense. None of us wanted to uproot our lives to run it. But first, we had to gut the place, sort through decades of dust-covered memories without ripping each other apart. That's how we ended up in the driveway that Thursday, eyeing each other like wary coyotes. Rental cars kicking up gravel under the big Montana sky. Mike looked every bit the urban cowboy gone corporate, tailored jeans, expensive boots, hair slicked back like he was heading to a boardroom instead of a barn. He'd always been Dad's golden boy, the one who could rope a calf blindfolded and still ace his exams. Even now, he strutted like he owned the place. Sarah rolled up in a dusty SUV, her blonde hair tied in a ponytail, wearing faded jeans and a flannel shirt that screamed, outdoorsy artist. She had Mom's hazel eyes and Dad's iron will, staring at the house like it was a bad dream she couldn't shake. Well, Mike broke the ice. His voice clipped like he was dictating a memo. Might as well dive in. Yeah, Sarah replied, tone flat as the prairie. I fished out the spare key Dad had given me years back, when we still pretended to be a family, and pushed open the creaky front door. The house smelled like pine, old leather, and faint cigar smoke from Dad's den, pure nostalgia punching me in the gut. For a second, I was 8 again, racing in from chores to find Dad fixing fence posts at the kitchen table. Damn, Sarah murmured, stepping in behind me. Feels like he just headed out to check the herd. She nailed it. The place was frozen in time. Dad's reading glasses on the side table, his coffee thermos in the sink, the Billings Gazette from the day he died open to the livestock prices. Let's start with personal stuff, Mike said, whipping out his phone with a checklist. Deeds, photos, valuables. Then tackle the furniture and gear. You made a list? Sarah asked, that familiar edge creeping in. Of course. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Better be organized. Heaven forbid we wing it, she muttered. And just like that, the old patterns kicked in, Mike bossing, Sarah bucking, me playing referee. How about we split rooms? I suggested. I'll hit the kitchen. Mike, you take Dad's den. Sarah, the living room. We nodded and scattered, the silence thick as we dove into our pasts. The kitchen was the ranch's heart, where Mom had whipped up biscuits before she passed from cancer when I was 12, where Dad grilled us on homework over steak dinners. I rifled through drawers, rusty spurs, faded recipes in Mom's script, mismatched coffee mugs from county fairs. Each piece stirred something I'd buried deep. It was the junk drawer that stopped me dead, a tangle of baling wire, batteries, and old ranch receipts. Tucked in the back was a small wooden box, like something for keepsakes. I'd never seen it. Inside, a kid's friendship bracelet woven in red, white, and blue yarn, a tiny plastic cowboy figurine from those cheap sets we played with, and a photo. The photo was us three. Summer of 1998. I was 11. Mike 17. Sarah 14, arms slung around each other in the backyard, grinning under the sun by the creek. But it wasn't just any snap. It was from that fateful summer, the one we'd vowed never to mention. I stared, transported back. Hot July day. Me shoving our buddy Cody after a dumb fight. Him tumbling into the swimming hole. Us diving in too late. Dad pulling us aside. Voice steady as steel. This stays family. Promise me. Alex. Sarah's voice snapped me back. She stood in the doorway with a photo album. You look spooked. I held up the photo. Her face paled. Where'd you get that? Junk drawer. In this box. Mike loomed behind her, freezing at the sight. We should toss it, he said after a beat. No point dredging up ancient history. Is there? Sarah challenged, eyes flashing. Maybe it's time we did. We stood there, the air crackling like before a thunderstorm. We swore to Dad, Mike insisted. Dad's gone, Sarah shot back. The words landed like a gut punch. For 27 years, that promise had chained us, silence breeding resentment, turning siblings into strangers. We agreed to let it lie, Mike pressed. But doubt crept in. Did we really? Sarah countered. Or did we just scatter like leaves in the wind? Tears welled in her eyes. I was 14. I thought you both blamed me, hated me. We didn't, Mike muttered, avoiding her gaze. Didn't you? Felt like it. I watched them, seeing the cracks for the first time, the guilt they'd lugged like saddlebags. Maybe we talk it out, I said. What really went down that summer? No, Mike barked. We can't. Why not? Sarah demanded. Dad's solution wrecked us. Let us rot in silence rather than face the music. It was complicated, Mike hedged. Always is with you, she snapped. You act like I was the villain. You were the one who... Mike stopped, regret flashing. There it is, Sarah said bitterly. The truth after all these years. Mike's armor cracked, vulnerability I hadn't seen since we were kids. I was 17, he choked. Supposed to watch you too. And I blew it. Someone died because I dropped the ball. Because of me, Sarah whispered. Let's call it straight.
No, interjecta.
They turned,
surprised.
Someone died because we were kids and over our heads. And the grown-ups failed us. It was the truth I'd chewed on for years. We weren't killers. We were children. You're right, Sarah nodded. Dad made us feel like outlaws. But we were just scared kids. He was shielding us, Mike said weakly. Or himself. The question hung heavy. For the first time, we saw each other clear, no roles. Just pain. Attic, I said. If he kept this box, There might be more.
Why?
Mike asked. To understand Dad's side. Sarah agreed. Time to saddle up and face it. Mike relented. Together then. No more Lone Rangers. The attic was a dusty time capsule. Pull-down ladder groaning under our weight. Boxes everywhere, labeled with rodeo trophies. School papers. Christmas junk. But one plain cardboard box sat apart, like Dad had quarantined it. We hauled it down. Hearts pounding. Inside, clippings, reports, photos, and an envelope addressed to us. For Mike, Sarah, Alex, only if I'm gone. Mike opened it, hands trembling, and read Dad's words aloud. My kids, Mike read,
Voice steadying.
if you're reading this, I'm pushing up daisies. And you've unearthed the box I prayed you'd never need. For 27 years, I've second-guessed making you swear silence on that summer. I was terrified of losing you to the system, of small-town gossip turning into pitchforks. So, I roped you into a secret that wasn't yours to bear. And it poisoned the well between you three. What happened wasn't on you. You were young uns. And Cody's death was a freak accident, not your doing. Mike paused, eyes scanning ahead. Mike, you were 17, thinking you had to be the big brother hero. But you weren't Cody's keeper. You were his pal. Sarah, at 14, you suggested that swim to beat the heat. Wasn't malice. Just kids being kids. Alex, 11 and full of fire. That shove was playground roughhousing, not murder. Cody had an undiagnosed ticker issue arrhythmia. Doc said it could have sparked from anything, running a fence line, getting riled up, even excitement. The push, the water, it triggered what was already a time bomb. We sat stunned on the creaky floorboards, dust motes dancing in the light from the tiny window. Mike continued. The sheriff's report called it accidental drowning. But I knew more from the autopsy. Town was reeling. Folks wanted a villain. I told Cody was solo swimming when you found him. Made you promise the same to dodge investigations. Child services poking around. Maybe even charges for rough play gone wrong. Thought I was playing the long game. Protecting the family brand. But I saddled you with guilt instead. The kind that festers. Dad's letter laid it bare. Mike turned into a control freak, lawyering up to shield others like he couldn't shield us. Sarah went nomad, chasing danger in her photos as self-punishment for that deadly idea.
Me?
I bottled up, teaching history to avoid real conflict, scared my temper could kill. We drifted because each thought the others pointed fingers, Dad wrote. Guilt turned you inward, away from kin. I should have gotten you shrinks, let the truth air out. Instead, I let fear call the shots. The box spilled more, yellowed clippings from the Billings Gazette about tragic loss of local boy in creek accident, no foul play suspected, ruled natural causes tied to heart defect. Medical files confirmed it. Cody's folks had no clue about his condition. Photos of us four. Cody with his freckles and gap-toothed grin, teaching me to lasso. Him and Sarah building forts from hay bales. Him and Mike tinkering on an old Ford truck. Grease-smeared and laughing. Police notes. No evidence of negligence.
Just kids horsing around.
Legally, we were clear. Montana law saw it as unforeseeable.
No intent.
No crime. I failed as your trail boss, Dad confessed. Prioritized reputation over healing. Truth sets folks free. Not chains, M. Cody loved you like blood, would hate seeing his passing bust you apart. You were thick as thieves once. Rebuild that if you can. Forgive me. Forgive each other. Forgive yourselves. Don't let my screw-up rob you of more years.
Love.
Dad. Mike folded the letter. Tears streaking his face, a rare sight, like rain in the desert. A heart thing, Sarah whispered. All this time, I figured my dumb suggestion drowned him. And my shove, I added, voice cracking. Thought I was a killer. My watch, Mike said. Failed to rein you in. We poured over the docks. Arrhythmia could have hit during a game of tag or roping practice. The water exacerbated it. But blame lay with biology, not us. That day, Sarah started, voice soft. Blazing hot. Over 100. Cody was egging Alex on about who could rope better. Alex shoved him, kid stuff. He laughed. Then splashed in. We jumped after. But he seized up, I finished. We yelled for Dad. Mike nodded. Dad hauled him out. CPR till the ambulance came. Told us later to zip it about the fight, said it'd look bad. Like we caused it. But legally? Sarah asked. No manslaughter if it's accidental. Especially with a medical cause. Dad panicked over optics, small town. Ranch families under the microscope. We talked for hours up there. Unpacking 27 years of rot. Mike admitted resenting Sarah for starting the swim idea. But really, he blamed himself for not being the perfect guardian. Sarah confessed running from us, thinking we saw her as reckless.
Me, ide withdrawn.
Fearing my anger made me dangerous.
But now.
Facts in hand, no crime. Just tragedy. Dad's fear of Child Protective Services or civil suits from Cody's grieving parents had warped us. As the sun dipped, painting the attic gold, something shifted. We don't sell, Sarah said suddenly.
What?
Mike blinked. Keep the ranch. Fix it up, a base to reconnect. Honor Cody without the weight. That's a haul, I said. We're scattered. Denver. Seattle. Boise. Weekends.
Holidays, she pressed.
Bring the families. Heal the land. Heal us. Mike chewed it over. Practically, we'd split costs. Hire a manager for cattle. But emotionally,
yeah.
Time to cowboy up. We descended, box in tow. The house feeling lighter. Like a storm had passed. That night, over takeout burgers in the living room, we sketched plans, update the kitchen, restore barns, maybe add a memorial plaque by the creek for Cody, not guilt, but gratitude. Lesson here, Mike said quietly. Secrets rust families like barbed wire. Talk early, talk honest, Sarah nodded, and forgive yourself first. We were kids. Life's got enough real villains without us playing pretend. It wasn't instant magic. Old habits die hard in the West, stubborn as mules. But we started small, group texts about ranch fixes, sharing old stories without the sting. Mike opened up about his high-pressure job masking guilt, Sarah about her wanderlust as escape. I admitted teaching was my safe corral, avoiding risks. Legally, we consulted a buddy of Mike's, a Montana attorney, who confirmed statute long expired. No liability with a medical proof.
Cleared the air. No shadows lurking.
Months rolled by. We converged weekends, hammers swinging, painted walls sage green, refinished oak floors, argued over saddle racks like old times, but with laughs now. Chris's kids, wait. Mike's ran wild, learning to ride ponies where we had. Sarah's photos adorned walls, sunsets over the hills. Us three mending fences literally and figuratively. One evening, as coyotes howled distant, we sat by a bonfire. Cody'd love this, I said. Always the peacemaker, diffusing our spats with jokes.